Morning all, do forgive me, I'm not a presenter. Normally I just put videos up with the bikes I've owned, but I thought I'm going to try and do a couple of how-tos to help those who are confident enough themselves to do these jobs, but also not to be afraid, and little tips and tricks I've learned to avoid breaking things to my pedal. And obviously BMW parts costing a fortune as they are. What I've done is recently bought a K1200S 2005 plate with Schnitzer bars on it. Runs like a dream, amazing. Apart from that 2000 RPM and below, low speed jerkiness, which I just couldn't live with. It got worse as the engine got warmer. Tried booster plug on it, eliminated about 70% of it, but I got OCD. It was still there, so I thought next step was unfortunately get a Power Commander 5. So this is basically I've installed it, but a few things along the way on the Dynojet site. You shouldn't attempt this unless you're 100%. I haven't gone through all the bodywork removal, because if you can't do that you shouldn't be attempting this. However, I do offer either a FaceTime if you do want me to go through with you piece by piece to disassemble it. I'm more than happy to. I'll leave my number, email and stuff on this. So just going to what happened was I connected the whole thing up as per Dynojet instructions. The valve, all this is mocked up, it's loose, but I'll get to that in a bit. And basically what they're saying is there's 4 screws here, 1, 2, which this throttle plate goes on to. 2 of them off. Make sure, first things first, always block the venturi, the carb, any inlets. You make sure you put some shop towel clean stuff down there before you start to disassemble anything, because once you get something down there it's going to be a nightmare. So anyway, once you've got these 4 screws off, then gently you need to prise the rail off of an injector underneath each one of these, which might not have been off for years, so they could be very stubborn. The problem I had was this wiring loom here. This normally when it's in position sits, it's quite snug in there. You can notice you can't see anything behind. So what I'd done, got it all out, blah blah blah, found out, bang, the feed nipple on the top rail I'd broken. Anyway, I'll go on to that repair in a minute. So with all that off now, obviously it's disconnected. It was only on there for mock purposes. What I suggest is, for those of you competent, is don't do it that way. Take another 10-15 minutes and actually release the carbs, take the carbs out, because I'll tell you what, twofold, you can have a good rummage behind, make sure everything's as it should be, and I tell you what, you'll be so glad, and you will not damage anything afterwards like I did. Another thing I found, once I put my bike back together doing that last method, I went out and guess what, it was running on 3 cylinders. So obviously I knew something had happened along the line where the one of the leads, which I was correctly pulled out of the back of the Power Commander. As you see, you've got an extra 2 leads per injector to hide behind there, and that wasn't visible with the injector rail in place. So what I'd found is one of these wires here, through trying to stuff them with everything in place, had come apart, causing to run on 3 cylinders. So just take your time. There's 4 clamps. I don't know if you can see that one down there, the screws. I don't know if all of them have this, or if somebody's been in here before, but I think the 58mm clamps, there's obviously 4. All I did was unscrew them. You've got to fish the throttle plate, the throttle cable out of this, which is easy enough. And then lastly, disconnect the TPS sensor, and that actually adding the TPS sensor from the Power Commander 5 was one of the worst things ever to try and get in. There is no room there, so that's another benefit as well. But don't be frightened. If you can go that far, then get it done. So yeah, like I say, if anybody needs any help on anything like this, because you're probably aware, if you're watching this, that the BMW stuff is very sketchy at best. There's not a lot of how-tos and everything else, but I'm more than happy to do that. The next lot will be how I did the repair on the fuel rail, which actually worked and it's quite strong. Okay, thank you for watching.